summer 1995, steelworkers face sharp challenges. For decades, the corporations have been shutting down plants, moving out, slashing workforces, and demanding huge givebacks. But workers are increasingly marching on the fight back trail. Today, when LTV Steel said it would build a $450 million non-union mini-mill in the South, the Steelworkers Union declared that workers must be prepared for an all-out war against corporate greed. In the Mahoning Valley of Ohio, steelworkers face the same challenges as their brothers and sisters around the country.
We fought for the right to have pensions, and the very work we were doing, the conditions we were working under, we were being robbed of our old age. We just weren't living past 60.
These guys deserve better pensions, because if they don't have those pensions, and if they don't fight for those pensions now, and those rights and these successorships, all they do is just boot them out because they don't care. The company does not care.
These steel companies or big companies come in here and want tax abatements, and then the burden of the tax for the schools falls on these people that work in this facility.
Like in so many other towns, Warren Consolidated Industries held the community hostage, insisting they could not keep their gates open without major contract concessions and tax breaks from the town.
But they had no problem shutting the gates and sending everybody home, while they're pocketing, millions of dollars at our expense.
I'm a pipe fitter. I got a pipe fit, I got a well, run cherry picker, JLGs, put my own scaffolding up, sweep, mop, I'm do everything. When we have 60, 70 different guys in our shop, we're down to 23. What more do they want? We've been betrayed, we've been lied to, we've been manipulated, and it's not fair.
In the city of Warren, Ohio, site of some of the greatest union struggles of past decades, workers were building their strategy for difficult tasks. Searching their history for guideposts, Local 1375 members found one name again and again, the father of their local, Gus Hall.
This all started with a history class. Everybody had something to make a report on, and some people chose the 1937 steel strike, the little steel strike, and one name just kept coming up quite a bit. It was the picket line captain, Gus Hall.
In 1937, Hall was in charge of Niles, Youngstown, and Warren for the Steelworkers Organizing Committee. Since 1959, Hall has been the top national leader of the Communist Party USA. After much debate and several votes, Local 1375 issued an unprecedented invitation to its founder, Gus Hall, to visit the Mahoning Valley. Gus spoke to the local, to an audience at the Youngstown Historical Center, and to a gathering of friends. His visit was the talk of the town in Warren and Youngstown and dominated the media for over a week.
We're fortunate to have with us Gus Hall, who sat down with John L. Lewis to come to Warren, Ohio, to organize the Warren plant in '37. I want to make a warm welcome to Gus Hall.
I'm honored that you asked me to say a few words about being part of one of the greatest labor struggles in all of U.S. history. You should be mighty proud of the fact that your fathers, some of your mothers, and even some of your grandparents took part in a strike that Phil Murray and later John L. Lewis publicly called, quote, the best run strike they had ever seen. How did the little steel strike begin? There's always been and will always be that the corporations set the nature of struggles and strikes. This time it was Tom Girdler, as you heard earlier, of Republic Steel, who publicly declared that he nor the company would ever sign any kind of an agreement with a union, and immediately started to set up a network of spies, stooges, and scab workers to follow that through. In 1937, after years of bloody class battles, U.S. Steel decided it was in their interest to break class ranks, and for the first time in the history of this industry, recognized and signed a union contract. But it became obvious there would have to be a strike to win a union in the rest of the steel industry. As you well know, it was really the last of the battles to break down the resistance of U.S. monopoly corporations and their ability to operate non-union industries, not just shop, but industries. Unity in mass struggles is the only weapon the people have. As history has witnessed, people have a choice, either to remain on their knees begging for crumbs, or to stand up and fight for what is rightfully theirs.
WCI the second most profitable mill in the country. And what did they do? Used us up, I guess they thought. Took all of our knowledge, all of our skills, all of our hard work, and then tossed us out, replaced us with scabs. I don't think so.
This is just a continuation of the large companies and whatnot trying to break down the small people or the workers or however you want to put it. 1937, the year of the big strike and the whole package. That's when the union came into being.
Against all obstacles, the steel union slowly took root. First as secret underground force, later as open fighting United Steelworkers, a local. Well, we went out and we collected thousands of steelworkers' signatures for a union. And you got to remember, this was a period if the corporations found out even an inkling that anybody was signing for a union, they were fired. And there was no recourse, nothing you could do. Unions were illegal as far as the corporations were concerned. So then we collected these signatures, I forget how many, but we collected a whole number of steel workers that signed in spite of the threat to their jobs.
John L. Lewis, the militant and popular national leader of the Congress of Industrial Organizations, the CIO, was at first skeptical about organizing steel.
We traveled to a ballpark in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. We presented these signatures to Lewis, and I've been always convinced that more than anything else convinced Lewis and Phil Murray that you could organize the steelworkers.
Lewis then gave the green light and $1 million to fund the Steelworkers Organizing Committee, hiring many organizers, including more than 50 communists who had proven their ability in organizing underground rank-and-file groups.
Communists led many of these groups. Many of these groups were led by communists, and that's why Lewis and Murray hired us to work as organizers of SWOC.
I managed to get myself hired by the two organizers that John Lewis sent into this valley to organize steelworkers by telling them that I was the only person that could do what needed to be done here. They said, "We don't hire women, this is a man's job." I said, "Don't tell anybody I'm a woman, just put my name down as S. Winters, they'll think my name is Sam." I convinced them they hired me for $10 a week. Here I am. Who did the real work of organizing the steelworkers in this town? People like Gus, the local people, the communists, the guys right out of the mill, and the support of the foreign-born workers.
They are the many unsung heroes who spent their whole lives, and some literally gave their lives in the struggle to organize the steel industry. In their first strike struggle, it amazed me to see how fast the rank and file grew militant and courageous when the situation demanded it. How their strength and determination came through time and time again during the strike. When I reached the pickets, I didn't believe my eyes. The backside looked like a scene from the First World War. They used airplanes to bring in scabs and food for scabs, and they landed in the plant. And the strikers, they shot at them and they crippled two of them and they crash landed. The action of the steelworkers was direct and simple. They simply closed the streets off, and only those who, with a pass signed by me as chairman of the strike committee, could come and go in this area. There were a number of crises because of the street closing. The worst was when the mayor and the chief of police were forced to get a pass signed by the strike captain to enter the strike control area. When I came to Warren, Warren was known as a conservative town. Its politics were conservative, politics were Republican, and generally it was known as a conservative city. The strike totally changed that. Totally. It has been a different kind of a city ever since. To speak about our history and the history of the steel industry, one has to talk about the basic nature of our system, the capitalist system. It is this that determines the nature of all struggles. The most basic characteristic is that the capitalist society, which we have, is divided into two basic, antagonistic, and opposite classes. In the interest of historic truth, one cannot evade the primary fact that one class owns the industries and runs them for private profit, As a result, they get rich. The opposing class is a working class that is exploited by the corporation. Most everything, in one way or another, relates to the struggle between the two opposing classes. All struggles, all union organizing efforts are related to this class war. It is this basic, built-in flaw that is also finally the gravedigger of capitalism. Whether one rejects or accepts this basic truth about capitalism is not simply of abstract philosophical importance. It is a very basic sense determines one's attitude to everyday trade union struggle and almost every contemporary issue.
The rich want to get richer while the middle class move to lower class. It's plain and simple as that.
Greed. It's just straight out greed. They want to take us back being black to a slave environment. And if we didn't like it, and I'm sure no matter what your color is, you don't want to be a slave.
It sucks. It sucks plain and simple. I mean, if it keeps up, what kind of Christmas is my daughter going to have? She can't go to preschool because of this. I mean, I could care less what I have to give up, but my daughter has to suffer.
They own it, but they don't do the work. That's the whole thing. I'd like to see some of these big chairmen of the boards actually go out inside that mill and do those jobs. I would really like to see that.
This is a classic textbook case of a multi-billion-dollar company trying to bust a union.
They're out to get us. They're out to get working people. They're out to destroy working people. They're out to set us back to turn of the century.
Gus Hall and other steelworker pioneers help win the gains for working people that are under attack today.
SOAR has developed a program of honoring those who helped build the union in the early days. So at this time, I'd like to present on behalf of SOAR the Pioneer Award to Gus Hall.
I want to thank Gus Hall for giving us this opportunity to help create this 1375, and for us younger people that haven't been through the 30s and that, so that we can learn from that history and from a discussion like tonight rather than have to live through it, and that'll help prepare us for the future.
Because of the stories that we heard here tonight, and the facts that's been revealed unto all of us, I think it prepared each of you to stand the test. I am proud to say that I know a person who gave up his life, sweat, and blood, because it had not been for those persons putting their life on the line, sacrificing their families. Many of them didn't even have a home to go to lie their heads down, but they knew it was right. They knew that the working person deserved more than being oppressed by the oppressor.
After Gus's visit, Local 1375's struggle with Warren Consolidated Industries heated up just as the workers expected.
Our contract was due to expire September 1. We turned around and met again Thursday at the Avalon on Thursday the 31st. And we really didn't even get into serious negotiations. We were just so far apart that we couldn't come to terms.
It was a well-planned lockout for us because we got locked out very, very quick and very military-like.
They started bringing the scabs in during the day on Thursday.
And, they snuck them in the back gate and escorted all our people out the front gate.
When you start bringing scabs in, you're stretching the laws and using all the legal limits of the laws, and that brings war. That's basically what we keep telling them. You've declared war on the steelworkers. This membership is ready to go to war if that's what it takes.
It's a rally of support showing strength in numbers for the steelworkers who say they've been locked out and replacement workers brought in.
But no company pressure could dampen the workers' determination.
With all the classes and then Gus coming in and everything like that, I mean, I think it really helped put some union history back in people's souls, and that was our goal. And there's no question Gus was part of that history. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people around here wanted to be strike captains. We made 40 of them.
The strike captains and pickets soon learned about company violence and scab provocations.
A union member gets dragged underneath a truck hooked onto the back of a van driven by a replacement worker. The steelworkers say they want to keep their demonstration peaceful, but feel opposing forces like replacement workers and steel truck drivers are making it almost impossible.
The same out-of-control corporate greed which ran down Walter Mintus is driving the right-wing assault on working people. Walter is slowly healing, but the wounds in our society are deepening.
What is the political climate you are fighting in today? The right-wing control of Congress, the conservative Supreme Court, and the overall right-wing political atmosphere in the government, and the Washington gives the corporations the green light to make war on the unions and the working class. That is what the contract in America is all about. All-out war on the working, the poor, elderly, the youth, women, and the racially and nationally oppressed. The Supreme Court decision against affirmative action is a sample of how the ideology behind the contract plans to reverse, to undo, and set back the victories against racism and for equality.
We cannot be lax. Every time working people get lax, that's when things start really happening. If they can divide you, divide and conquer is what they're up to.
This scene here today can be duplicated in a lot of places around the country with crowds that you wouldn't have got 4 years ago or 5 years ago. People are fed up with the way that they're being treated. You're helping give people courage.
Yeah, they want to take things away from the people. Our forefathers fought for all this, and he ain't going to take it away. Newt Gingrich or anybody else, he's not going to take it away from us. And that's about it.
The period of 1937 and 45 was a span of offensive victories. A very important result of these victories was the organizing of the steel union and the mass production industry. One of the lessons all labor learned during this period was that the key to winning the class war is class unity. Race, nationality, age, male-female unity. These were the struggles that finally rid the industry of separate racist locals. It was a process of class integration. It changed the economic, political, and ideological fabric of the United States.
Because anytime you have support, then you've got unity, and anytime you've got unity, you've got power, and that power speaks.
Linked together, we can beat back those attacks on working people in this country, and unified, we can use that strength to win for all workers in America, organized and otherwise.
We never had rallies like this before. I've never seen people turn out like this before. So I think they're surprised.
Solidarity does work. They thought they were going to break us and they didn't. The more people can come out and show their support, the more the company's going to realize we're not going to stop until we win.
Figures released by WCI, meanwhile, put the estimated loss between $15 to $18 million during that work stoppage.
In the final analysis, they didn't produce any steel. That was the reason for their shutdown.
They were out to break the union because what money they spent on this, they could have put right in our retirement, and we'd had enough money for our retirement for the rest of everybody's life.
If they can come in and they can break our union and make this become a non-union shop, then you can imagine what they're going to do to the other unions. The other unions coming in showing the unity that they have shown, they've said in a sense that they would back us to any extent. But in the process of helping us, they're helping themselves too.
Your fight is our fight. You're going to win, and we're all going to win.
Well, I guess it's good for the people, you know? You see this kind of camaraderie that you don't see every day with my union brothers, and we're all together, and we want to keep this town a union town.
Well, let me tell you, they took on the wrong union. They took on the wrong community when they took on the fighting people of Warren.
Got it. Union all the way.
We won. They can't make steel without us. They're not going to make it without us. They're done. They don't have a company without us. We are the company.
It seems the union got very much of what it wanted. It has a 4-year deal that will start off with a $3,000 bonus 30 days after this contract is signed. After that, there are various types of increments, a 50-cent raise an hour next year, a $1,000 bonus the year following that. Most important issues, though, remained intact for the union.
The membership stuck with us totally united. I just never seen anything like it. The community stuck with us, unbelievable support.
I feel proud to be the president of a local so united. I'm very happy with all the work we put in it, trying to make them aware of what could happen, what to be prepared for.
Helping prepare the working class to win bigger and bigger struggles is what the Communist Party is all about.
Why should somebody join the Communist Party today?
Well, because it's the most intelligent thing to do.
Workers all around the country are coming to the same conclusion, that capitalism offers only insecurity and injustice, and that joining the Communist Party is the way to fight for a better future.
Yes, I do. I think the communists play a very important role with the working class people. By reading the paper and talking to them, it gave us a little inspiration and strength to know what's going on around the world with other working class people, because we weren't aware.
And I have to say that if it wouldn't have been for a party presence in this area, we would have stood a doggone good chance of losing our union at that time. But and the party has played an important role in helping develop a fight around Pittston, around Ravenswood. It serves as a strong backbone. Well, what keeps you going is fighting for the people and being part of the people. And I think the party plays an important role in helping inspire people to keep carrying on.
The party offers, the only thing it offers is struggle. You struggle, you win.
Corporations and bosses are continually trying to divide the forces of the working class. And when we call for unity, when we call for not only racial equality but gender equality, we are actually resisting and fighting back the ideology of division.
That was one of the key contributions they made at that particular time of bringing about the understanding of the need for black and white unity.
I said that we are the fastest growing organization on the left, and we are. And I have to tell you that the growth of the party, total surprise to me and to all of us. It says something about where America is. American people are concerned. They're concerned about the Gingrich gang in Congress, and they're concerned about Social Security and unemployment insurance and education. Look, the party is a special kind of an organization. And the party, we are convinced that socialism is the future and that we're going to build it, and it'll come into being, and therefore you join because you believe in that. But communists are good fighters, and the history has proven that. They were good trade union fighters, and they were good in fighting for unemployment insurance, were good in fighting against racism. Communists have a certain prestige of being good fighters for good things. And therefore, if you want to be part of that struggle, one way you can be that you support these struggles, but the other way that you join the party. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. Yes.
No, like pension, no seniority?
No, the only thing that they get as a bonus is their hourly wage is usually considerably higher than what they would get if they were a full-time employee on a salary. The only problem is that they don't have the benefits, but normally a lot of them, the way the job force is changing right now is that people really have to get into the mindset that the so-called permanent job, that shouldn't be in your vocabulary. There's full-time work where you get benefits, and there's contract or temp work. To be in the mindset that it's permanent is a false mindset to be in the 90s going into the year 2000. Basically, companies are looking for people to come and develop and do projects and then move on to the next project to compensate them for those benefits. People are not acting like this is an issue that they're trying to ignore, because if temp employees get united, they can determine their fate in this instance. But the contract business and temp business is going to grow phenomenally going forward. And the way that they're going to have to make the change is going to have to come from government. Government's going to have to understand that benefits are not a privilege, they're a right to every human being, period.
Which doesn't allow for alternatives or alternative values.
Is temp work very mundane and routine?
It varies. What's suitable for temp, what's suitable work to use a temp for, tends to be a bit more rote, less creatively oriented. So yeah, I mean the work, in my experience, has been a bit more drudgery. Just by the nature of the skills being transferable, being able to step in and do the work.
When we